Oh, man. Okay.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only live streaming face-to-face arts and entertainment podcast covering northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene, and tonight we're here with Dunmore rapper Kelly Shaun Parker Jr, a.k.a. Methadonix, and Scranton producer Steeze PA, two of the founders of the Atmosfere Music Festival and co-owners of the Atmosfere Lounge, a new nightclub opening on Saturday, April 26th behind Ale Mary's in downtown Scranton. We're talking about the vision for this venue and creating a home for local rap and hip-hop artists, the music of Methadonix reaching 1 million streams, and his latest album, Too Much Too Soon, helping other artists through his Velocity program, what Steeze has been producing at Encore Studios lately, and what he thinks of the artists to look out for, their plans for the second annual Atmosfere Music Festival at the Ritz Theater in Scranton on August 2nd, and much, much more. So please join our conversation with your questions and comments down below. We'll get to those later on in the show. Before we dive in, I just want to thank our sponsor, Center City Print, who provided us with this great studio space. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at Center City Print for 10% off. Center City Print can bring your ideas to life in 4 locations: Scranton, Old Forge, Kingston, and Hazleton. These one-stop shops are locally owned and operated, offering high-quality printed products, copy and print services, and design solutions to help you, your small business, your nonprofit organization, your band, your art project, your event, or any venture thrive. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off. All right, so let's talk about what got you interested in music originally. When did you first start making music?
So I first recorded my first track with Steeze in 2019. That was originally the first release record that I ever had. Before that, I had this thing. I've loved music pretty much my whole life. Even in elementary school, I would copy lyrics from songs I listened to in notebooks, and I would do that for years. And then over time, I just gradually fell more in love with it. And it all led up to the point of me meeting Steeze, and here we are today. All these years later, it's kind of been a passion of mine forever. So it came full circle.
So how old were you guys during that time?
I was 2019.
16?
Yeah, 16, 17?
Wow.
Yeah. Young.
Yeah, we were young. We started off recording in his bedroom.
Okay.
So now we're at Encore. He's been my producer and engineer ever since I met him, and I plan on it being that way for the rest of the time. So
How did you guys meet originally?
So we had a mutual
Okay.
who I'm not going to name at this time, but I met Steeze through him, and actually the first song I ever recorded was with said individual. So he's no longer around, but me and Steeze are still working together.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So chugging along day by day, year by year.
What was your first impression of each other?
I thought he hated me. If you want me to be completely honest, I couldn't get a read on Steeze for months. I was like, does he think my music is garbage? Does he not enjoy recording with me? Like, I actually just recently told him this too, which is crazy.
Like, we just touched base on how we felt about each other, and that's what a lot of people think about me is just because I'll sit there and just work and not say a word. It's hi, hello, let's get to work.
Okay.
Let me give you the service that you need done, and catch you next time. You know what I mean? I'll critique when I need to, but I don't want to distract an artist in the session. So when I get to work at the studio, I take it seriously. It's not something I'm like, oh, I'm just here with my buddy. That's my job. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, a lot of people that come to the session first time or the studio with me first time, they all think I'm a little bit not mean. It's just I don't have, not that I don't have much to say. I'd just rather work than talk.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So I was going there for months, and I'm like, okay, either I'm a terrible artist, and because I'm looking at him. Now, whenever I record music with Steeze, I look at him to see how he's feeling and reacting to my music. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Back then, he would just be Still, that's bored. So I'd be like, wow, he only says hi and bye. Like, that's it. He's like, okay, we're going to work on the next one. So, took a little bit, but, now he's like family to me, so.
Yeah, 100%.
So you have 4 albums as well as several singles and EPs. How do you think your music has changed or developed since those early days?
I think in the beginning I didn't really know who I was as an artist, and it took a little bit of time for me to figure that out. Now I absolutely know what I'm most comfortable with, where I'm most confident. You know what I mean? But in the beginning, it was just trial and error. I mean, we actually, again, talked about this the other day. Like, we would just throw on random beats from, like, say, like a Juice WRLD type beat, or a Pop Smoke type beat, or like an NLE Choppa type beat, and then we just record a song over all those beats and see what sounded the best. You know what I mean? And there was no really individuality back then, and it took a little bit of time, but now I'm really comfortable with who I am and how I sound, and we have that sound on lockdown pretty much now, all these years later. It's taken a while, like I said, but we're still improving session by session, day by day. Every time I write a song, I try to better myself. I'm only at competition with myself, so I try to improve each time I write and record.
See, how do you feel that your studio skills have developed over time?
I hate to listen to my old stuff. I won't lie.
Likewise.
I hate it. I'm such an OCD freak that I take that into my workspace, that everything I have to do has to be perfect for what I could do at that time. So, like you said, every session we're always advancing on something and figuring out a new way to sound better or do something better. So, it just helps me. Every session, having artists that want to grow like that and could grow that way, that I have the opportunity to try new things and it actually works with them. You know what I mean? So definitely from the last, let's say, decade I've been doing it, man, like I said, I hate to hear my old stuff, but tremendously improved, and every session we're just getting better and better, and we're just trying to pave the way ourselves to create that new standard for ourselves and
Absolutely.
Put ourselves in the industry ourselves. That's really it.
For sure.
Let's do it ourselves, because there's no handouts to really ask for, and nobody likes asking for handouts. I don't.
Nah.
Nobody likes to be asked for a handout. So, you just got to keep trying yourself and see where it goes.
That is correct.
And I'm sure the technology has already kind of leapt from where it was when you guys were 16, 17 to now too. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah, it just from our first time working together, my whole studio in my bedroom only costed about $800 with the computer.
Had to be.
So it's like now, I'm not going to put a number, but now there's a big amount higher than that, a bigger amount.
A very drastic difference now.
That comes into play in on what I'm able to do and how the quality standard drags with it. So you know what I mean? It sucks to invest in yourself, but with engineering it pays off, because that's what you have to do. And everything with engineering is a big price tag if you want it to be good.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even I consider ourselves a pretty DIY, low budget sort of production, and we just kind of upgrade a little as we can. Maybe a better mic here. Yeah. Better chords or better camera there.
Absolutely, step by step.
That's all you could do.
So before we get into the Atmosfere Music Festival, I also want to mention that you had reached over 1 million streams of your music across all platforms. So
yes.
What do you think it is about your music that people are connecting with?
So this is kind of going to tie into my mentorship program a little bit. One of the things I tell my artists and my team all the time is that an audience loves to feel connected to you. That makes them more enticed to listen to your music, because they feel as though they know your story or can relate to your story. I think in my music I do a pretty good job at that, and I tell stories of my real life, like whether that's heartbreak, pain, even stuff that I write that can be more like a positive song. It's all based off experiences I've been through. So I think the authenticity of it has a lot to do with that. And I like to engage, I post on Instagram all the time. I'm constantly interacting with my fan base, and that's a really big part, because I don't want to be one of those people who shuts out the people who made my life possible. You know what I mean? That just doesn't seem fair to me. So, and I'll never be like that. And I think that goes a long way, you know, in my personal opinion. Some people might disagree, but that's how I see it.
Well, we're gonna get into your fourth album, Too Much Too Soon. So we do a little segment on the show called The Breakdown, where we go track by track on an artist's latest release to hear their inspiration and stories behind each song. So this can be about the lyrics, the composition, the recording, all of it, whatever you want to share you think is the most interesting aspect to talk about. So your fourth album, Too Much Too Soon, was released on August 30th, 2024, and is available now on all major streaming platforms. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, let's get into it. First is Reminds Me of Summer.
Reminds me of summer. Okay, so before I go track for track, the whole album was formed off of songs that weren't supposed to be in one album.
Okay.
So me and Steeze do a lot of different recordings, and I'm in the studio a lot. So I had a bunch of songs that all had similar messages, and they were actually supposed to be for another project, but I ended up creating Too Much Too Soon. And I just wanted to tell a story. I'm really good with putting myself in emotions of my past. So this whole album was written off of emotions from my past and the heartbreak I had gone through. And that comes in many forms. Relationships, losing my father, you know, just going through negative occurrences in my life. And Reminds Me of Summer was more so one of the heartbreak ones. That feeling of being in love in the summer, and then you get your heart broken and you don't know what to do. You feel empty, you know what I mean? And I just turned it into a song. I love that song. That might be in my top 3 for that album, if you want me to be honest. I really, really like that song.
Okay. Next is One Phone Call.
One phone call. So actually, shout out my buddy D-Mines. He lives in Florida, and he is a very, very talented individual and artist. He actually sent me that record, and it just worked out so well because I was actually supposed to be featured on his song, and that was going to be for one of his projects. Okay. But it turned, I had asked him, I was like, hey, I have this album coming out Too Much Too Soon. I think it'll really tie into the story and work very, very well. And he actually gifted me the song. So that's how that one came about. That ties into the same heartbreak I felt and Reminds Me of Summer.
We have Demon Girl.
Ooh, that's
I like that one.
That one. To this day, I don't remember writing the verse. I was really, really in the, I don't know, moment when I was writing it.
Yeah.
And I was going through a situation. I won't dive too deep into that situation, but I just took it out on a song. And the way my writing, I love the way I wrote that song. I can't even sit here and act like I don't. I think that might be one of the best songs I've ever written lyrically. Like, if you really listen to what it's amazing. I really, take pride in my writing ability on that song. Usually I don't even talk like this, but that song specifically, I just absolutely love. So, yeah, that ties into the story. You know, we're just flowing along with the story.
Okay. And we have Wasted up next.
That's more so, it could be a storytelling song, but I kind of wrote it in a way where it was just like a feel-good song, but at the same time had like a negative connotation that tied into the story as well. Because if you listen to the song, it's very upbeat, very bouncy, but when you listen to the lyrics, it's a whole different story. You know what I mean? And that is very artistic because you could make people feel 2 different types of ways with a song like that. You could have them energetic, or you could have them really thinking to themselves like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I wanted to capture with that one, was kind of hitting both feelings, because it was a summer album. I wanted to do something that added to that feeling a little bit more, and yeah, that one came out great. Shout out Von Blondie, shout out D-Mines on that track as well.
And we have Light Up the Room.
Light Up the Room. That one, so the artist who's actually on that song, we've been working together for about 2 years now, but we only have 2 songs. So we only did 1 song per year together, both of which being on this album.
Okay.
So she had emailed me, and she kind of just wanted to, I was originally supposed to drop my album Ecstasy 2, and it was going to be more upbeat, and you know, she sent me Light Up the Room, and I was like, wow, this is different. I've never done a song like this. You know what I mean? Again, real bouncy, real feel good. But then when you listen to the words, it's a totally different thing. So I think we did a really good job of painting those pictures on this album. You know, I've definitely have gotten some very positive feedback from Light Up the Room when I've recorded it that day and after. It's a highly requested song for me to perform as well.
And next up we have So What, and Oh Well in parentheses.
So What, Oh Well. That's like the same thing. It's kind of like a very consistent story here, but this one's more like an FU type of song. Like, so what? Oh well. Like, if you broke my heart, so be it. I'm still gonna be fine. You know what I mean? And that's why that song's probably one of the most upbeat on the album. It's like that feel good summer, like, you know, I don't give a damn attitude, and you just kind of like you're driving in a convertible drop top down Venice Beach, blaring it. You know what I mean? That's what we wanted for that song. That was kind of just like a, you know, 2 middle fingers to the face.
Well, when I was listening to it earlier today, it definitely has a lot of experimentation when it comes to, you know, there's some electronic elements in there,
for sure.
Some, like you know, changes in the voice and things like that, like you know, voice changer type effects and things like that. What made you want to go with that direction?
So we just want to, I like to get experimental. It's something like, even with the voice changer effects, me and Steeze have been doing that since 2019. Actually, like, remember I always used to say the underwater effect. Yeah. That's the one I liked the most. Or the telephone or the megaphone effect. Yeah. And we just wanted to try something new. You know, like, I don't want to stay trapped inside a box, and neither does my fellow artist on the song. So, you know, we just kind of created it. He sent it back to me. He lives out in California, and I heard it and I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect. I love it. I hopped on it, and, you know, we got So What, Oh Well.
Okay. Real With You.
Real With You. So that's like another one of those FU songs. You know what I mean? It's so the album is like a progressional album. So it goes in the form of grief almost. So you start off really heartbroken, and then you work your way out of it. Yeah. And that is the point where we're kind of like angry and saying like, you know what? I don't give a shit. Like, I'm over it. I'm getting over it. This is the part of the album where I'm like getting out of that. You know what I mean? So that one's just, you know, another hype song, a good performance song as well. I love rehearsing that song and whatnot. But I kind of just wanted to test my writing ability on there, you know, and it captured the same feeling of that, like, I don't give a shit, like, I'm gonna be good, you know what I mean, type of feeling.
Over Now.
So now we're getting to the end of the album. This is basically a goodbye. Like, it's over now. You know what I mean? That was me releasing and letting go. That is probably one of my most articulate songs. I really like how we did that, and it came out very well. And it, like I said, in the progressional album, towards the end, I'm starting to say goodbye, and this is like the goodbye was over now.
And then we have Do For Love.
What would you do for love? Good question, right? That's it. That's the only explanation it needs. That's the end, you know, of Too Much Too Soon. And even with the album title, like, it was Too Much Too Soon. And, you know, I really like the artistic, you know, ability of myself and Steeze and everybody else involved with this album to create a story like that. Because, like, I like to tell stories in my albums. If you listen to all my albums, it's a story. You just have to really, really listen. You know what I mean? Or watch the podcast and I'll explain it.
Yeah. Are they all really personal things, or are you fictionalizing some stuff? Or
all of that whole album was written off of real personal experiences. I was just able to kind of tap back in with those feelings, because when I experienced them, I didn't really know how to articulate them. So now that when I figured out how to, it was like, why not? You know what I mean? Because I'm still kind of holding on to this. I need to let it go. And there we go.
And then there's a bonus track there at the end, my favorite song.
Oh, yeah. I really like to add bonus tracks onto my album. So that one was just kind of one me and, again, shout out Von Blondie. We made that song together, and kind of just like a feel-good, upbeat song, you know, because you want to give people that as well. You want to give the listener something happy as well. They don't want to be heartbroken the whole time. So we threw in a little bonus track for them, and that's actually a really good, one of my favorite bonus tracks I've done. So, you know, that was just something for fun.
What's your favorite track on the album?
Well, honestly, like I said, like we were saying earlier, Demon Girl is one of the more so. It's like I find myself enjoying more like underground sounding, like hip hop. So that gives me that, like, a little bit of that, like, tone, you know what I mean? And plus with all the lyrics throughout the whole song, I can, as a producer, I'm reading the beat as well as being able to read the layout of his vocal structure throughout the whole song, of what's going to be the hook, or what's a bridge, or what's a verse. So it's like being able to read those two. That song overall is like just something that like my brain likes. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's something I enjoy.
Yeah, that's definitely a standout overall of the whole album. So let's get into maybe how you discovered the local hip hop scene. How did you find out there was other people doing what you wanted to do?
All through Steeze, honestly. At first, very scary transition because you go from like an athlete in high school to not being able to play sports to now you have to find a new passion and you follow the one you've had your whole life. So I didn't even know there was recording studios here, if you want me to be completely honest. So when I met Steeze, I was like, oh, this is sick, you know what I mean? And like it was.
Just in a bedroom at the time.
Just in a bedroom.
Yeah.
Like that's all it was. And I was like, this is amazing. So, and we were making good quality music, I would say, out of the bedroom studio. So as I would be around Steeze, I would meet other artists and some would come, some would go. And over the years, I kind of just started networking and building a brand for myself. And, you know, Steeze was kind of the launching pad for that. I started to meet new people, see what I don't like, what I like. And you just meet a lot of incredible people along the way. You meet some bad ones too. But, you know, for the most part, I've met some pretty awesome people.
What would you say is your kind of overall assessment of the local rap and hip hop scene? Is there a lot of activity going on? Is it kind of you know, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but maybe not a lot of public stuff? Like, you know, how would you describe it?
I would say it's not publicized enough. I think, in my personal opinion, I don't think it is. I think obviously it's more of a, we live in an area where it's more rock based. You know what I mean? Which is totally fine because I love rock music. But I think there's a lane for hip hop, and I think there's a lot of undiscovered talent and some discovered talent. You know what I mean? I just think light needs to be shined on it a little bit more, and that's kind of why we have Atmosfere and Velocity as well. You know what I mean? I think it's a very large platform for hip hop artists and R&B artists to showcase their talent. And you know, it's great. It's great. I love doing that. But there's a lot of talent. You just got to look. That's all it is, you know?
And I feel like a lot of venues around here, because it is so rock heavy, and people feel like, well, that's the way that I have to book things, that it's really hard for local rappers and hip hop artists to just even get a chance. You know, like just give them a show, or you know, give them a couple of shows to like prove themselves.
For real.
The audience is there.
100%, and the audience is definitely there. People really, really want it. You know what I mean? As seen by Atmosfere last year, and just the outpouring love and support we've seen over the last 9 months with it. There's a lot of talent. There's so much talent. You see it, you know, firsthand.
Like we were saying, or you explained, like, is the hip hop scene, like, is there a lot of behind the scenes stuff? And you know, before Atmosfere came about, I was like, man, like, I'm seeing the same 10 people on posting the same songs or posting a new album. And I'm like, where's everybody else that wants to make music? I was like, when I was in high school, everybody wanted to. And now it's like I felt like it was broken down. And then we started Atmosfere, and I was like, wow, it's like there's too many artists to pick from.
Yeah.
Slow it down. Like, there's way too many people that we found that made music. And
very accurate.
Granted, you know, it's a blessing at the same time because we want to show light on that scene out here. And, you know, if there's a big support group that wants to be heard, you know, they're going to help us make that happen.
True.
So.
And that's one of the things that I love about doing the open mics. Is, you know, being able to give everybody the same platform.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same level.
Absolutely.
So you have, I have rappers all the time that show up and they're just like, you know, this is the only stage that'll give me a shot.
For sure.
You know, that or, you know, some of the other open mics in the area. I know Gus the Savage just started one.
Yes, he did.
You know, there's a bunch of them around the area, but not even some of those aren't really open to all types of music.
You're right, exactly.
They might be, you know, because you know, a lot of them too are run by musicians, and they're usually it's their kind of music, and then they're kind of their friends that play the same type of music.
That's a very good point.
So you know, I think that's one of the ways we stand out a little bit is
definitely
trying to give everybody that platform.
100%. I think everybody deserves the chance. You know what I mean? Because I love all music equally. I think no matter what style artist you are, you deserve a chance to showcase your ability because every artist has some sort of talent, you know, and there's room for improvement on everybody. So. And
there's a power in live music too, because I get all the time people who show up and watch the open mic. They'll be like, "Oh, I didn't think I liked rap."
Yeah.
But then I saw this guy do it.
Yep.
And I do like it. And it's like, well, yeah, because your only exposure to it was maybe something you heard on the radio that you just didn't like.
The most trendy stuff that I really don't like. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Nobody likes commercial. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody likes commercial. And I feel like, honestly, with any type, like you said, like any type of live music, you could feel it physically. So it adds, it's just way better. Always will be. Totally love performing. I love performing so much, you know, and I guarantee all artists do as well. Well, at least most. But I love it. You know, it's a feeling for the artist and the listener. And that's the best part.
Now, did Atmosfere kind of come out of that need to, expose these artists and give them a platform?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, basically, like, the whole idea of Atmosfere, like, our goal is to provide a platform for these local hip-hop, or just, not even have to be local, it's just, we want to provide a platform in this state, in this area, for, you know, upcoming artists that don't get light shed on them, to have a chance to, you know, maybe if they have something, to let the state hear them, or if we do have, such a good upcoming artist in the making, we'll have a scale of event that could maybe land them a record deal after a show. You know what I mean? True. So at the end of the day, we're just trying to build our own establishments to have something for the scene. You know, if we really see like, wow, that person's talented, we need them on a show, and that'll give them that chance to be heard and maybe be picking up and taken to the mainstream industry, you know?
Very accurate.
So, I'd say overall goal is we just want to be a big platform for this area and expand.
It's cool, too, to see that the Ritz was open to that as well, because you think of most of the stuff that they book there is not that. So
true.
And then to see the amount of people you had show up for them, you know, really shows that the demand was there.
Absolutely. They took a chance on us, and we definitely appreciate everyone. Shout out the Ritz Theater. We appreciate working with Josh Balls and everybody there. You know what I mean? Great people. And they were open to it, you know? A little bit of convincing, but, you know, now we're working very closely together, and we couldn't be happier.
Well, we did a podcast that you were on last year leading up to Atmosfere. So tell us about that day. You know, what was it like? How did everything go? You know, what is your overall assessment or memories of that day?
So I'll start.
Yeah, you start. I'll pick up.
Well, we do a lot of planning. Like, now that we're in the motion of actually taking this further, there was a lot of planning to be done just to put that show on. And like I'm sure I explained, or we all explained in the last podcast I was here, there was just not a lot of time for it to happen. So expectations weren't above the roof, but they were high. Yeah. And you know, everything started falling in place. Everyone was like, yes, this needs to happen. And you know, we connected our dots and got people to help us, and found the right people to make it happen. And you know, we did it. And walking to the event, setting up was probably the hardest thing. Yeah. And after that, seeing all the people come out, I just got happier and happier, and things got easier and easier. So, you know, as the event went on, like I said, my expectations weren't high, but they definitely exceeded my expectations as the night went on. But event planning, very hard. Definitely need the time. Definitely need a lot of time to do it. Yeah. Glad we're continuing to do this, so we were able to plan further in advance, and I'm glad it all worked out. I'm glad everyone supported us. I'm glad everyone wants this, and I hope we can continue with a strong foot and could keep running with something that may be something for the city to have some history and stand on. You know what I mean? And definitely. Just something new for our new generation to have, you know, like I said, just a platform for new talent to arise.
For me, I was nervous all the way through. Oh man, I headlined, and it was bad. I got a migraine. I felt sick to my stomach. I was sweating. But it was all out of excitement, you know what I mean? But there was a lot of pressure because it was like make or break, and we even talk about that now. It's like now we're past the make or break point. We know we could do this consistently, but last year it was hit or miss. You know what I mean? And I'm closing the show, so it's like if you don't send these people home happy, like that's not good. You know what I mean?
Chat. You might as well get off the game.
So a lot of pressure, but it was one of the best times of my life, you know, with these guys. Shout out Drew 570 Exotics, Kevin the Middleman podcast. Planning it with them, It was amazing. A lot of stress, but good stress, you know, because we were productive, we were active, and we were doing something good for the community. And no matter how stressed we get, we work very, very well as a team, and we get it done. And that's what we did last year, and this year's going to be 10 times bigger than last year.
And that was also your first big headlining show.
It was.
So how did that feel?
There's actually a video of me right before I go out on the curtain. I look like I'm going to yak everywhere. I swear. Someone took it. They sent it to me after. They were like, you look sick. And you want to know what's crazy? I'm sitting there before. I didn't even tell you this. They're doing my introduction video, and I'm sitting there. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what if you just don't go out? I swear, right? I'm like, what if you just don't go through the curtain? And then the other side of my head is like, you cannot do that. So I'm sitting there battling with myself, and that's why I look so tense in the video, and I'm like shaking, because like I'm in my head battling myself, and it's like, don't go out. No, you gotta go out. You can't just not do that, right? But I went out there, and it was like a light switch. Like everything was gone once I hit the stage and I started rapping. You know, it was just like, it was amazing. I had a really bad migraine, so I wish I could remember more of what the actual being on the stage was like.
Okay.
But I get like terrible migraines, so I can't really remember exactly what it was like, but I remember the feeling right before I went out. And I just know that's
GoPro
like
to your head next time.
that's what. No, seriously. Like, thank God we have all this footage, because that migraine was like top 5 worst I've ever had in my life, and the lights and the sound, and I didn't have an ear monitor in, so I was like, oh God. But I had a great time.
Ray-Bans, the Meta Ray-Bans or whatever they are.
No, literally.
We'll
just buy a pair. We'll invest in them.
Every set you'll have the opportunity to wear them.
Seriously. But yeah, it was great. A time I'll never forget in my life. You know, for the first one, that'll always be something special.
Now, what have you guys learned from that experience of putting together this first one that you're bringing into the second year?
There's a lot of things we didn't do, but that was because of time constraints. We had 3 months to plan the event last year. So very, very short. That was getting artists, getting vendors, getting food trucks, etc., signing the contract with the Ritz. So that's really all we could focus on. We couldn't really focus on making it feel like a festival. This year, it's going to feel like a festival. And that's what we wanted so bad last year. But, you know, with a year 2 prep this time, we have so much to incorporate. And I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a lot. And it's going to be like, I'm smiling right now. Just because, like, thinking about it, like...
You won't be able to not see the event.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. It's going to be amazing. You know, we're excited. We have so much planned. We're in meetings like twice a week. So we're constantly going. And this year's going to be big. And we have some stuff up our sleeve. We have some stuff up our sleeve. So I'm excited as hell.
So the lineup has not been announced yet.
Not yet.
So any hints or anything that you can say, or, you know?
I would say there is a lot of local talent. There isn't only local talent.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So, yeah, take it as you please, but, you know, as we think it's for the good, and everyone, I think, will probably agree when the list is out.
Absolutely. So. It's coming out very, very soon.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it out before the lounge opening.
Okay. So that is very soon.
Absolutely. Within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that brings us to the Atmosfere Lounge. Mm-hmm. So how did that opportunity come about?
Okay, so it's a process, kind of like a step-by-step. So our partner Drew had the idea to run smaller end events kind of leading up to our big festival. We didn't really put our foot on the gas on it at first, and because like we did the charity event in November, so then we took a little hiatus during the winter, and then everybody kind of got on board for it, you know? So it came, like I said, it came about in parts, and then Kevin introduced us to his connection, who... Do you want to pick it up from here? How would you put it? I don't really want to give all his eggs out.
Kev gave us the good news, and you know, we like I said earlier, we made our dots meet, and we got to make the announcement, and we have a date that we're in there. Yeah. So you know, we really want to have that something be a known experience in Scranton.
Definitely.
I think we have a lot of engagement on just the grand opening itself. True. Being a great timing as the summer is approaching. People want to get outside again and have some fun on their weekends rather than sit inside. So,
for sure,
I think it's really a blessing, to be honest, because there's something big big here with Atmosfere, and there's something just big in general with what we're doing. I feel like there's a lot of things that just fall into line for us. Not saying we're getting lucky, but a lot of people want what we're trying to do. So,
very accurate assessment.
I'm very, very happy that everything's rolling into place. But yeah, back to the moral of the story was, we all put our two cents together to make this happen, and yeah, now we have our date and everyone's excited for it. So
Definitely.
we hope the grand opening is sold out. That's our expectations now.
Yeah, it's there's a drought with stuff like that here. You know what I mean? And that's kind of, we saw an opportunity, like a crack in the door, and we just kind of kicked the door right open, thanks to Kevin and his connection, getting us in there. And so far, it's looking like it's going to be packed out first night. You know what I mean? And I'm putting that in the universe because I hope it is. But it's going to be a really good night. It's going to be a really good night. And this is another way to give back to the community. And I think that's a big part of what we do as Atmosfere.
I hope main thing is I really, really want people to, not be so. I'm not saying set a high bar for what they normally expect, but we're trying to bring an experience that people are gonna recognize and enjoy.
Yeah.
But it's Atmosfere, so we got to create our own atmosphere. So you know what I mean.
Exactly.
We want people to be optimistic and kind of just for in general, maybe say hi to some random person that you might not know, and just make new friends. Come be yourself. Don't be so worried about how people think of you, how people may like you or not like you. We just want people to come party, dance it out, drink it out, whatever you guys want to do. Just come enjoy your night, and we have our own little style we want to add to it.
For sure.
So with this being Atmosfere, what is the vision for the club? Is this a hip hop venue, or would you see it that way, or would you describe it that way, or would you say would you look at it a different way?
There's so many things that could be classified as, and that's the thing. It's very subjective, I think, to what we're trying to do per event. First night is just kind of like grand opening nightclub feeling, you know what I mean? We have DJ AR coming in. Shout out DJ AR. He's going to be mixing it up. I'm performing alongside Kreese and Gomi J. That is Kreese Cooper. And it's just going to be a good night, We're not always going to have live music, but we are going to have it here and there. You know what I mean? So, we'll have performance nights, special guest nights, I should say. And, for the most part, it's just going to be a spot where people could go out, enjoy their time, and be safe. See old friends, see your family, bring in new people, you know what I mean? It's just about bringing people together for us, So, I mean, it's Atmosfere, though, like Steve said. So, it could be something really crazy or something just normal. You never know with us, That's the best part. We like to switch it up.
We might want a chill weekend sometime.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We might want a chill weekend. You'll see when you get there. Just make sure you get there.
Absolutely. That's it.
Well, the place, for those who may be kind of wondering where it is, or does it look familiar in any way? So this place was originally Madame Jenny's.
Correct.
Which was a speakeasy-style bar and venue in the back room or back area of Ale Mary's in downtown Scranton. So if you've ever been there, you probably have seen it. You may have wandered in when they were doing something at some point. What have you done to change the vibe to fit what you're doing there?
Nothing yet, but the grand opening night, it's going to be a whole different feeling in there. Less speakeasy, more Atmosfere. You know what I mean?
Atmosfere.
Yeah, definitely. That's
there's
the best way to describe it.
There's additions, but nothing has changed.
Yes.
So it's just going to be additional from what you... If you went there, what you remember, there's additional things you'll notice.
Kind of just adding to it, you know what I mean, and making it more so like the Atmosfere Lounge, you know what I mean? So we have some ideas that we're kind of brainstorming through right now, and by opening night, you'll see them all.
I'll post these images on the screen that people can see that you had shared earlier in the last week or two, so people can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about
Absolutely.
here. As you can see, it's a pretty classy looking place.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah, and it reminds me, especially in that first photo there of the kind of little it almost feels like a rap video.
Yes.
Of that, everybody's partying in a VIP section, popping bottles and these big rounded couches where everybody's having a good time, and that sort of stuff. So really, immediately I could see it as that, even if you're imagining the speakeasy how it was.
Definitely.
The transition's pretty seamless.
Very smooth.
And that's what we wanted, you know what I mean? Because we're trying to have some class to it, but still allow that fun feel, you know what I mean, that you'd get at, say, a nightclub in New York or a nightclub in Philadelphia.
Sure.
And we're gonna mix the both and make it work smooth, give both sides, the people who like to get up and dance, do their thing, but the people who like to pop bottles and just chill back, their own sections, you know what I mean? So it's a balance, 50-50. Everybody's gonna be involved,
So is there going to be like a dress code, anything like that, or?
Yes. Steeze, you actually were the man for the dress code, so.
Well, if you go to our atmosfere.io website, there's everything you need to know from Atmosfere regarding our events or our lounges, or if you need to contact or sponsor or submit a form for a food vendor or clothing vendor. Anything you need is atmosfere.io. There's the section there that you can go to the lounge page, and the lounge page will say all reservation list and what you need to do to reservate yourself or RSVP to get into the event, or purchase to get into the event, but also has our rules, everything under that as well.
Yes.
So if you need to find our dress code, it is not strict, but there is a dress code. So your standard dress code, you'd go anywhere for a nice dinner, expect it at Atmosfere.
That's fair.
Main thing I did want to mention is main thing is please if you're gonna wear baggy clothing, please don't make them cargo pants where they have pockets.
That's what you wanted to say.
Well. Main thing, please, no super baggy cargo.
Yeah.
You want to spend 20 minutes patting something
Exactly,
out, right?
exactly. We're not going to put our security team through that, please. I'll be in a tracksuit. What am I talking about?
No, not 100 pockets, guys.
So the grand opening is Saturday, April 26th. What can people expect that night, and what can people expect from future events going forward?
I would say overall the first night is just going to be a great time. I think even with the support we've seen in the numbers on social media wise, people seem to have wanted this. So we took a chance, and I think it's going to work. You know what I mean? So just come enjoy your night, invite your family, friends, anybody you want. You know what I mean? Come out, enjoy some good music. As I said, I'll be there performing. I'll have the Atmosfere guys there with me. It's just going to be a really good time, So an overall good feeling. We're going to leave a good impression on the public, and on to the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say the same. Definitely grand opening. We want to have a great time. So obviously we're gonna have our own style to it, but we need to obviously read the room.
Yes.
And make sure people are happy. So we want to accommodate people the first night there. So selling the place out or reaching max capacity is a good way for us to find out what we need to do to make people happy and keep coming back.
Correct.
What is the capacity there? Do we know?
150 comfortably.
Okay.
150 comfortably.
So it's a nice little intimate venue.
Yes.
And our local artists, I'm sure, are going to be contacting you, interested in performing there, stuff like that. How does anyone go about booking shows there, or who do they talk to, or how would that work?
You could message us or email us at Atmosfere on Instagram, or our business email, which is atmosferemusicbusiness@gmail.com, and just reach out to us, and one of us will get back to you. It's going to be either me, Steeze, Kevin, or Drew. So we're always checking our DMs, we're always checking our email daily, so we're not going to miss anything. You know what I mean?
I would say there's we don't want to say obviously pertaining to the lounge or any other future plans or whatever. We don't want to say obviously there's a set rate or guarantee or anything that you can ask us that's already a normal question. Is there's 1,000 questions, 1,000,000 unlimited questions people could ask. So whatever it is, just ask it.
Yes.
We don't know what you want to ask. So that point being is give us a story, let us read it. We'll
Absolutely.
get back to you.
Communicate with us. Don't withhold anything. You know what I mean? That's one thing we appreciate is like if you do have questions, just don't be afraid to ask them because regardless of the outcome, we're going to answer you and we're not going to be rude about our response. So, don't be scared, guys.
That's fair. Well, speaking of questions, we should check the comments and see if we have any questions or anything that we want to read here. So now's the time, by the way. So if you're tuned in and you're watching, if there's anything that you want to ask or add to the conversation, now is the time to do it.
I shut my phone off.
Let's see. Already, Ray Mione, will punk shows be welcomed at the venue? I mean, I don't know if exactly that's the vibe that they're going for, but I don't want to answer for you.
I'm going to say no. I don't think that's the aesthetic we're going for. I mean, listen, I just said I love rock. I love punk rock as well. No disrespect to any punk rock artist, but we are going for more so a hip-hop R&B feel to, and capture the nightclub for live performances.
Well, I think that also fits George Palominas' question. Will pro wrestling be welcome at the venue?
Pro wrestling? Listen, yes. I'm a very big pro wrestling fan. I will wear that on my sleeve. If we get some wrestlers in there, hell yeah. Listen, I'm down for it.
There you go.
There you go. Right. Listen, I'll perform while people wrestle.
Yeah. Boom. We'll have a ring in there wrestling.
Throw a ring right in the center.
So he's part of a group called Smash Master Wrestling.
Absolutely, I know a lot about Smash Master Wrestling.
So those guys have been doing some really cool stuff, and they have been doing some music collaboration type.
I've noticed. So maybe we could get in on something like that. I'm not opposed to it. I love networking. I call them side quests. And I love doing side quests. So I'm not opposed to it at all, as long as my colleagues are on board, guys.
All right, there we go. Let's see, Mr. Kevin Martinez.
Hey, Mark.
This is Chef Steeze PA.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. So he's shouting both of you out here. And Gus the Savage says, is GTS going to appear at Atmosfere 2025?
GTS.
Gus the Savage, you are slated for my set, but that's all I'm going to say right now. I'm not giving any more information.
All right, that's fair. All right, so Kevin also has a good question. So how often will the lounge happen? Is this a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? How often will we see events there?
We're going to base it off of how the first night goes.
Okay.
And then we're going to make a solidified decision after that. Because right now we don't have that answer. We have plans. If people want it, if it turns out good grand opening, then we're gonna talk about how often we're gonna be open. But we are gonna maintain a semi-exclusive schedule to it as well.
Okay.
That is just something we all like, is the exclusiveness. So it's not going to be your average open every single day of the weekend type of deal, but we're going to make a decision after the grand opening. And it's going to be avidly consistent. So, we're going to come up with that. We just want to see how the grand opening goes first.
Well, it's I think what you guys are doing is so important because there's really not a lot of what you would say nightclubs in the area.
Not at all, very much so, yeah.
I'm sure based off the pictures that were shown on the stream, I'm sure there's not really, you can't count more than what's on one hand of how many places look like that. You know what I mean? Just let alone actually give an experience like that, just let alone look that way.
Exactly.
So, that's one thing just to read off of is we don't really have much here.
Really. Like I said before, so there was kind of a drought. You know what I mean? We came in at a good time, especially with other establishments closing and whatnot. I just think it's a good route for us to walk. So if the first night goes well, expect to see a lot more from us.
Agreed.
And this is something where we can probably venture to say that there's going to be a lot more rap and hip-hop artists maybe featured here than you would see at your average venue.
Correct.
Across the area.
Correct.
So this is definitely something that if you're fans of that genre, you got to go out and support.
Absolutely.
But mind you, yes, we will be providing, like he said earlier, we will be providing live music, but also we do want to make it that club or lounge experience as well on certain weekends or certain events. So there may be times that we're open and you may only see DJs there. You may see one artist. You may see a big name. Whatever the case is, there's 1,000 different opportunities out of the place. So, you know, we don't want to be the same every time. We just want to have that basic set law of how the night goes, and, you know, theme it out from there. See what people like. See what they want, and
100%.
You know, again, read the room and keep them happy.
For sure.
Well, I mean, the DJs need somewhere to
yeah, so it's
play
a
as well.
DJ outlet as well.
Yep.
You know, we want to create space for up and coming DJs as well. That's
absolutely
always a good door to open.
Let's see. Holly asks, can we do any special song requests with the DJ?
We're working out a process that, you know, there'll be a way that if you like to hear your music while you're out, you know, there'll be a way that you can get that done.
Yeah.
But you know, grand opening, we won't have that established, but after grand opening, there will be a way. So
there's going to be good music grand opening.
Grand opening, there's good music.
Yep.
After grand opening, there will be a way to request some music that you like.
Correct.
I was going to say, I'll put that grand opening flyer up on the screen as
Awesome.
well. People can see that. And then, let's see, I think we have one other. Let's see, we had Milsey says, Kelly the GOAT.
Goat.
Shout out Millsy, my boy. Thank you.
All right, so let's wrap up here and see if we have anything else. Oh yes, before we go, I want to talk about the Velocity program.
Yes.
So that's something that you use to help and mentor other artists.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about how that got started and what you guys are up to now.
So we actually have an album coming out this Saturday, Velocity Volume 2, following Volume 1 of last year.
Okay.
This was an idea I had about 2.5 years ago now, something very small. I noticed there was a lot of people who would ask me questions, and, you know, how do I get to this point in my career? How do I do this? Who do I go to for this? You know, and in my head I was like, it would be cool to have a collective. That's where it started. It was like, so let me start forming that. And then as my career grew, I'm meeting all these people, creating these resources, and I thought to myself, I really like to teach people. Why would I not make this a mentorship program? And ever since, I mean, we have a huge roster. We have, you know, a legal team, a marketing team, a graphics team. We're official partners of Encore Studios with Steeze PA and Dan Dearborn. And
Shout out Encore.
Shout out Encore.
Dan's the GOAT.
You know, we have a lot of resources at disposal for these artists, and they're very, very talented individuals. I'm very proud of all of them, and they just prove me right with each release and each text and call and meeting we have that I get from them, why they're with me. You know, and I just want to see them prosper, you know, and that's my overall goal is growth. And my original goal in making music was I want to help people. This is probably the most prominent way outside of writing and recording music that I could help people. So that's what we are. We're here and we're going to be taking over, you know.
What are some of the most maybe important lessons or things that you want to impress upon these artists?
Don't be afraid to be yourself and find yourself as an artist, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do what you aspire to be, because that is all things that happened to me, and for me it turned out pretty well. And I want them to know that, because I see a lot of doubt in some of my artists, and I see a lot of doubt in artists in general, or producers or videographers, any creative. And I don't think that's caused by themselves. I always think it's caused from something someone said to somebody. And that's not how we do this. If you want it, you're going to go and get it. Like my dad always told me, you know, you're going to get up and you're going to go get it. And I'm going to help them go get it. And, you know, you just have to be fearless. Take the risk, because it might change your life. It certainly changed mine, you know. So that's definitely the biggest lesson I want them to know and take away from anything they learn from me in Velocity is that right there.
Now, Steeze, what have you been producing at Encore Studios lately?
Man, there's a lot. Even just the last 2-3 months, he's kept me busy with Velocity. You know, I've had the blessing to work with a good majority of the Velocity artists that are based out of this area. So you know, he's made it like known to them that, hey, you know, I want you at Encore. If you could come to Encore, because he trusts his music with me, and he wants them to trust their music with me as well. And like I said, he's He's been keeping me busy this year, I won't lie. Velocity, him and Velocity, all the Velocity artists, I gotta thank them. So, like back to earlier, every session I'm learning something. All these artists aren't the same type of music. So, it's awesome to work with them because they're all unique. Some of them really don't need the help. Some of them could use an extra guiding hand on their music, and it's nice to do that in the session because like he said, he likes to teach people, and he can do that during the session as well as I can do that to help them in the session. So it's nice seeing people's music grow, and you get to learn something out of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's located up in the Archibald Einon.
It says
area.
Einon, Jessup, but I'm always gonna base myself Scranton. I'm still in Scranton. That's where we're at working, and if I tell anybody, I just tell them, it's up in Dixon City, up in the shopping commons area. So
Scranton Carbondale Highway.
Exactly. Scranton Carbondale Highway is a long highway. You know what I mean? So,
right.
It is.
So that's why it's Scranton Carbondale.
So what are some of the local artists that you've seen or worked with, coming in and out of the venue? I mean, some people go there to practice as well.
Yeah,
Is there anything that you've worked on or you've seen coming through that has impressed you or you think is worth keeping an eye on in the future?
I would say, again, shout out to Dan Dearborn, the owner of Encore Studios. The stuff he does there, his rehearsal space that he does is it seems like to me. I personally am not a band, and I don't know what they look for when they like stuff. But a lot of bands like coming to Encore, and he does a great job there. And there's a lot of I would say there's a good portion of the people you see at bars in Scranton come rehearse at Encore. So it's awesome to see that coming out of Dan and coming out of Encore's being a part of that and seeing everything that happens in Scranton kind of happens at Encore. And, it just makes me happy.
It's true.
But point being is, obviously, keep a lookout on all of the Velocity stuff. A good majority of the artists out of here, including Methadonix music, is coming soon, produced out of Encore Studios, engineered, mixed, mastered by myself.
Always.
Also going to have some beat production on some upcoming releases, so keep an eye on that. If it's not through Velocity or Methadonix, obviously at Steeze PA on every social, so you can keep me there and stay in tune. I did have another song. I know I mentioned it last time I think I was on. I had a placement last year that did some good numbers with J5, a New York rapper, and this year I got another placement with a good artist of mine, Jazzy G, and we got another J5 song together. So, that's another nice thing. I'm getting established with that New York scene that I try to touch base with in my engineering and production skills. So, just every day knocking at the door at a new opportunity, trying to prove myself that I am worth being something in the industry, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, again, blessed to be working with Methadonix because him and Velocity, they keep me on my toes and they keep me learning, and I don't need to get old and start stopping to learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to stop learning. I just want to keep progressing and progressing and progressing, and again, blessed to him, I'm able to do that with how much we work, and
yes, sir.
Blessed to Dan Dearborn for how much he shows love to me, being able to be at Encore Studios, and all the artists I work with out of Encore, and just in general who I work with. I gotta be blessed to all of them. They all make my career possible.
You know it.
You got a lot of creative free reign there?
Yeah, I get to, Dan treats me like I own the place, not like he owns the place.
That is very true.
And Dan is a very, very loving person.
He is. He's a great man.
You may look at him and be like, wow, that guy looks crazy, but I promise you he has the biggest heart in the world.
Yeah, he does. He's a great man.
And he'll agree at what I said. He'll be like, yeah, I am kind of crazy looking, But he's like, yeah, you're all right.
What you want to bet he says that the next time
yeah,
you walk?
You're like, you were exactly right about that. But yeah, again, super blessed, super happy that something that I found interest in as a kid is becoming my career. So,
for sure.
Just very happy with everything I'm doing. Very happy with the people I'm around, and again, you know, Scranton, everyone complains about Scranton, but, you know, I'm starting to like it. I'm getting a lot of support here, and I really hope people start to turn the ways around and begin to support each other.
I'll say the same thing. Everybody, you know, there's this negative connotation surrounding this area, and I think that's changing, and I think that's awesome.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
One event at a time, that's what we say.
And it feels good to be a part in that, you know?
And a lot of that is, I think, just paving your own way. You know, seeing what the area is missing, or what you don't think is happening here, and then making it happen.
Absolutely. That's what we got to do.
Just keep trying. See what it does.
That's it. We're going to fail a bunch, but we're going to succeed a bunch too, you know?
Yep.
Now, do we have any other live events planned, or do you have any shows outside of the grand opening of Atmosfere Lounge or the festival?
As of right now, just the festival. We're going to really focus on the lounge for right now. Just kind of work on the lounge and the festival at the same time, you know, get all our ducks in a row there and make those two experiences the best, you know, and then what follows, we're just coming off of a Synergy Showcase event out in Bethlehem a couple weeks back, which went really, really well as well. Okay. So, you know, just stay tuned. We could have an event planned next month, and we might not even know it yet.
We might not know it. But point being is, we what you hear from us already is our plans for this year. If there's additional, let's go. But next year, just expect it to be even 10 times bigger again.
Absolutely. Expect another charity event possibly from us this year as well, because we really had a great time with, shout out to the United Neighborhood Centers. They helped us a lot.
Anybody in the comments, what would you like to do?
Let us know. Let us know for the charity events, because we're brainstorming right now, and that's a big thing we want to incorporate yearly as well as these charity events. So, if anybody has any ideas, whether that's kickball, basketball, football, just let us know. Even if it's none of those things, we could do a car show, we could do whatever. You just let us know what you guys want, and we'll be here.
Nice. All right. So, anything else you guys want to mention before we get out of here?
Anything on your mind?
Just got to say our shout-outs, Shout out Atmosfere, shout out Kev, Drew, Kelly, myself. Shout out Dan Dearborn, Encore. Shout out my mama. Shout out my mama. Shout out my family. Shout out everybody. Friends, family, girlfriend, everybody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? None of us would be here unless we're happy at what we're doing, and glad we're all doing something.
That's true. Shout out my family, my friends, Velocity Artists. You guys keep me going. Steeze PA keeping me going and on my toes year in and year out. Kevin, Drew, just everybody, the Ritz Theater, everybody who makes this possible. This life is not possible without you guys, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And I wake up every day with a purpose now, and we're just going to keep on moving. We're still young. We still got time, so I can't even imagine in 10 years what we're going to be doing,
Just keep sticking along the ride, and it'll all be worth it.
Absolutely.
It'll all be worth it.
And thank you, Rich, for having us on.
Yes,
it means a lot to us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to see something new happening in the area, something that stands out, that's different.
Absolutely.
That's as soon as I saw the opening of this, I'm like, okay, that's a story, because
definitely
it's something that people are always looking for something new to do in the area.
For sure.
So this is definitely fills that, and also it helps a really cool and underappreciated part of the scene that just does not get enough love. So.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really good night. We're excited.
All right, so the second annual Atmosfere Music Festival takes place over the Ritz Theater in Scranton on Saturday, August 2nd, from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. The lineup and early bird tickets will be available soon. But right now, the region's newest nightclub, Atmosfere Lounge, will have its grand opening with DJ AR. Is that
correct?
Kreese Cooper, Methadonix, and Gomi J on Saturday, April 26th, from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Behind El Mary's in downtown Scranton. Tickets, which are $10 in advance or $20 after 11 p.m. that night, are on sale now at atmosfere.io/lounge. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you enjoyed the show, you enjoyed the conversation, keep it going. Please like, share, do all that good algorithm stuff so that we can reach more people and more people can find out about this and future episodes of our podcast. So tune in next Wednesday for another episode, and we will see you here next time. Have a good night, everybody.